Okay. So what's up? Corey said, and we talked on the phone a little bit that you wanted to, and you can start at the very beginning, however you want to do it.
I got some notes. Do you mind that?
No, absolutely not.
I don't want to forget stuff, so I've been writing stuff down the last few months. So that we might end up with points. Well, here's the thing, and just to give you the broad overview quickly. I felt like when I first talked to Investigator Hale, I was shattered. I mean, you can imagine, you see violent crime all the time. So I think he saw a lot of noise, and a lot of the stuff I told him, but I don't know how it came across. The last couple of meetings we had, he seemed to think I was a disgruntled ex-boyfriend that got my heart broken, and that's why I was upset. And there was some truth to that, I was upset. But over time, I've got some clarity on some things. So I guess I'll just give you my overall impression, and just want to tell you things I saw with my own two eyes that were very suspicious to me that I didn't feel really heard previously. Or maybe they were heard and not seen as credible, I don't know. But just so you get the context for it, as far as the relationship stuff, that sucked. But, you know, that last 3-4 months, I moved on with my life, you know. Actually, her moving away was the best thing that ever happened to me in terms of my personal life. It was a bad relationship. So this isn't any animosity towards her for being an unfaithful girlfriend. This is more deeply concerning stuff about someone getting killed. So I started dating Wendy in fall of 2013. We have mutual friends, because a lot of our friends are in the Jewish community at the School of Social Work. So we both talk to a lot of the same people, you know, throughout the investigation. Your name came up a couple times.
You talked to who? Who'd you talk to?
Well, like the Gamoris, the Epsteins, the Cohens. There's just a lot of mutual. My dissertation chair, I got my PhD here and I came back. My dissertation chair, like the Markel and Adelson would have they go to my mentor's house for Jewish holidays, things like that. So we met us through a mutual friend. It was kind of a natural thing. Only two single people in town, both academics, etc.
You and Wendy?
Yeah, me and Wendy. Yeah.
And who was the
person I introduced was a guy named Stephen Tripodi, who's a professor, but his wife used to hang out with Wendy. We just have a lot of like mutual friends and stuff. So that's how we met. So we dated casually in the fall. She just got divorced, so had I actually. And at the time, I mean, I came in here before, like, I thought Markel was a dick. I mean, that's what I had been taught by Wendy. Over time, I realized I was kind of misled. But in the fall, it was interesting. Let me start. Danny had been describing Wendy as a pathological liar and a mentally ill narcissistic sociopath in a semi-joking manner, but
to you?
To other people. I just heard that through the grapevine. Because people said, be careful with Wendy. She's a little unbalanced. And I said, well, she seems upset about her divorce, but I don't know if she's unbalanced. I didn't take it seriously at the time. It sounds extreme, right? I thought these two people were having a nasty divorce. He's calling names. I thought it was totally out of line. It's one of the reasons I was upset with him, because it seemed, you know, you've seen the court documents. I mean, he got sick of her and really went after her legally in a really aggressive way, and not knowing the background. I thought it was inappropriate, you know. I thought it was taking things too far, trying to disbar your ex-wife, you know. But one impression I'm left with is, I don't think I said this before, like in December or January, I thought that was totally out of line. By May, I don't know if those are technically the correct words, but by May, I knew exactly what he was talking about. And this is a very troubled person, Wendi Adelson, deeply troubled person. And at first, she's gorgeous, she's smart, she's funny. I mean, I fell for this girl like a ton of bricks. Most men would. I mean, that was one of the reasons I stuck around too long. But just an overall impression of her. And Danny says this in court documents, actually. She's a very manipulative person, a pathological liar. Wendy was an alcoholic while I was with her. She drank her dinner most nights. Extremely fragile, extremely depressed. Many, many nights hated Tallahassee so much that thought we're a bunch of country bumpkins, so we liked Tallahassee because she's from Miami. Didn't hide that fact. Thought it was bizarre that I moved here from Phoenix. And the two conversations that we had every single day for 9 months were, Danny is an evil monster, and Tallahassee is the worst place in the world to live, and I can't believe I got stuck here because of Danny Markel. And she was obsessed with those two concepts. So I got really tired of hearing that, but I heard that every day for 9 months. Wendy's very manipulative in that she plays the victim very, very easily. Whenever we got into a confrontation, she'd pour me. Very sensitive that I work with DV victims, women that have been raped as a social worker, all that kind of stuff. So I'm a sensitive Mr. Rogers kind of guy. So it was a very, easy way to manipulate me, or Markel for that matter. But she just wasn't stable even in the fall, and able to cover it up here or there. One of these people, the first 100 hours you spend with her, you think she's amazing. 101 on, you're like, shit, what did I get myself into here? This person's kind of crazy.
You talk a little fast for me.
I'm sorry.
100 hours?
Yeah, first 100 hours you think she's amazing. Then after that, wait a second, there's some tremendous flaws here. So she puts up a very good public face. It's accomplished, beautiful, smart, funny woman. I was with her 4 or 5 nights a week for 7 or 8 months total, I would say. More in the spring than the fall. And she was deeply troubled. She was on psychiatric medications, and in March she decided to come off of those.
March of 14?
March of 14. Spring break, Immokalee, actually, that's when she went off them. And this will make sense in why this matters. I don't want to give you BS or all that information, but she's already a sensitive person, so much that, you couldn't say to her, like, hey, I'd appreciate it if you'd be a little more considerate to me. You're being kind of, she'd break down crying for 2 hours. She would throw a tantrum. I've never seen anything like it. Anybody I've ever dated, I've dated some pretty crazy women. So, but then when she went up there, SSRIs, it went from being fragile to being, she had no resilience. She would just melt down in an absolute second.
For over what?
Anything. Any kind of criticism.
Oh, if you had given her criticism.
Or anybody did. Anything negative. I've seen her lose her shit over, cake going bad in the oven, and she's devastated for 6 hours. This was in the spring. So this was like the state she was in as we approached the time of the crime. So I'll skip the whole thing where we date the first 6 months. It was, she played hard to get. I chased her. And eventually she agreed to be my girlfriend. We go to spring break, and she starts coming off the SSRIs. Things start getting pretty weird in terms of, we had a couple, first time we spent a week together, you know how that is. Of course you're going to have a minor thing, you're going to find out who this person really is, And she started devastating, and a couple of times I called her, she's very narcissistic, and a couple of times like, I'm here too, just basic stuff like that, but she would just lose her mind over that kind of stuff. So if I just fast forward to spring break on, so I can skip all my bullshit and just tell you what's pertinent to the crime, I think. She starts coming off those SSRIs March 12th or 13th.
March 12th?
12th or 13th is when she started. So that was spring break, like almost a year ago.
Of 2014?
2014, exactly.
Okay.
Okay.
So March 12th and 13th, y'all in Immokalee?
Yeah, that week we're in Immokalee.
And that's for this retreat to your students?
Alternative spring break, yes. Yes, sir.
And you traveled with, you took her with you?
She took me with her, actually, yeah. It was her, it's a law school thing, and I just went along to help her out.
Oh, I thought it was, because you're in social work.
Yeah, but it's actually a law thing. They just wanted to bring a social work prof, and I was one, so we went. So,
Okay, so these students that are going to this alternative spring break are law students?
They were. It's a med students, yeah. So exactly. But one of the reasons I went with her is she's very childlike, very much like a 13-year-old girl. I don't know if she could have handled it on her own. I had to do an awful lot of things for her. Her parents, if you investigated, you've probably seen them. She needs to be taken care of. She's such a fragile person. When she would travel to Miami, her mom would drive or fly up here and then go down with her every single time. And
she didn't travel on her own?
No. It was real weird. And at first I thought, what overbearing parents. And then over time I'm like, I don't want to let her go on spring break by herself either. She won't be able to handle it. She'll lose her shit, So February, March, I think she was cheating on me, all kinds of stuff like that. But that's pretty.
This is that other Daniel guy.
Daniel Sack, yeah.
Sack.
Among others. I think I'll get to that in a minute. There's a long list, and I don't know how many of them you guys have considered. But as far as seeing stuff pertinent to the crime, I met her brother Charlie when I was down there in Miami for Immokalee. You may recall that I said I found him to be a very strange person, very aggressive, verbally. He takes sex tourism trips to South America to have sex with underage prostitutes.
Wait a minute, back up a second.
Yeah, he takes sex tourism trips to South America to have sex with underage prostitutes.
Sex tourism?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, South America.
I'm kind of a sheltered guy.
Well, I was shocked not only that he would tell people he did that, but that he would tell his younger sister. That was strange to me. Very odd. And there's this odd dynamic between them. The whole family is real weird. Most people that spend time with them say this is, social workers, I consider incest in this family. Is there violence in this family? Something's up with this family. But I mentioned to you that he talked in the hot tub about punishing a girl by anally violating her in front of Wendy and I, like bragging about the fact that he'd hurt this girl because she had got him in an uncomfortable situation. So he came off like an offender to me. He came off like a, kind of sociopathic, like, this is strange. He just met me, he's telling me this. It was really, really weird.
Okay,
Yeah, go ahead.
I know, I'm just trying to rein you in a little bit
ahead,
so I can make sure I get it right.
Yeah,
I do recall something about a hot tub.
Yeah.
But I think it may have been something I read from Corey Hale's report.
It might have been, yeah, I talked to him.
But are you saying you're in the hot tub after the Immokalee retreat?
Exactly. We went from Immokalee to Miami and hung out with their brother.
Okay.
The first time.
So you're in Miami at his place, I guess?
Exactly. It's very wealthy. It's got a really nice house in Miami Beach area.
Miami Beach.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're there and you're in the hot tub.
Yeah.
She's in the hot tub.
Yeah.
And the brother Charlie's in the hot tub.
Yeah.
Okay.
Charlie's talking about punishing girls through anally violating them in front of his sisters. Just.
Is it braggadocious?
Yeah. Like she got him punched out at a wedding. He had a Korean girlfriend and brought him as the only white guy to 400 Korean people and just him. Some of the men took offense and he got punched out.
Charlie did.
Yeah. So the way he handled that was to anally violate her and then brag about it the next day. I mean, it was really, really weird.
That had happened the day before y'all got in the hot tub?
No, I misspoke there. It was pretty recent. It wasn't that day, but It was last month, the last couple of weeks, something like that.
So he goes to a Korean wedding as the only Anglo.
Yeah, exactly.
And some men took offense because he was a date for one of the Korean girls that was at the wedding?
Exactly. And he got punched.
And he probably opened his mouth or something.
He says he got sucker punched, but I don't know.
Okay, so he gets... And so his way of getting retribution is the girl that brought him to the wedding is to rape her?
Well, not rape. It wasn't rape. It was consensual sex. But he was bragging about the fact that he made it hurt a lot and that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
And that was just...
And that was anal penetration he's bragging about.
And it was 20 minutes after I met him.
I got you.
So I'm just like, this is not normal. This is strange. Guys will talk to their guy friends. Although I've never said anything like that. I would never want to hurt a woman. It's, so it's... so it just struck me as very, very odd. So fast forward to April, she's coming off the SSRIs, her behavior is...
Coming what?
Coming off the antidepressants.
Okay.
So I study that. That's my area. I study psychiatric medications.
Right.
So
I just got to be able to explain it. If this ever goes anywhere else, I got to be explained so I understand it and the lay person can understand.
I understand. So she's coming off psych meds, but she's doing that against my advice. Not with the help of a clinician. You're supposed to go to a doctor, have him help you get off. She did not do that. And she was dropping her dosage very, very rapidly, which is usually recommended to take some time and go slow. She was on a very high dose of Lexapro, like double the normal dose. And so in this time period, one of the reasons I stuck around, even though it was so crazy, was I thought it might be a passing thing because I thought she was having withdrawal effects. Some of the physical ones like dizziness and stuff like that. But sometimes people's behavior gets really weird in that, so you give them a break while they're coming off. So I was giving her a break.
What is the Lexapro for?
It's for depression. She was diagnosed as depressed. And her dad, the dentist, was writing her scripts to what she shouldn't be doing to help her come down the dosage. Because you want to switch to the liquid so you can slowly go down. But she ignored all my advice. I was constantly, you may have seen this in the emails if you looked at it, I was constantly cautioning her, texting her saying you need to go slow, slow, slow. I made her get a therapist. I said, I'm not going to even talk to you about this unless you at least have somebody you're talking to that can monitor your mental health, because I saw she was just spinning out of control. And she wasn't that controlled to begin with, but it was getting worse. Her drinking was really increasing in April. And she had times where she's just losing her mind. I mean, with the kids in the house, drinking a bottle and a half of wine by herself, falling down in the bathroom, bruises. I flew to a trip to Chicago when I came back. I had to go right from the airport to the house because she was just doing so poorly. So she was just not well. Fast forward to May. We have that incident in the coffee shop that we discussed, that Officer Hale and you were... I assume that's one of the reasons you guys were interested in talking to me in the first place. But just to remind you, I just walked into All Saints Coffee, and there's my girlfriend with another guy. There's no stalking. and she knew that. But
There's been no complaint of stalking against you.
There has been informally. She tells people this.
Yeah, but I'm saying there's no.
Oh, no formal legal.
You shouldn't have been contacted from anybody from this department
Never,
for a
never.
complaint about it.
No, never. I'm not worried about that. I mean, I didn't bring an attorney because I didn't do anything.
Right.
I'm not worried about it. But that was a big deal in our relationship. And
Right, because you see her there and she's with this guy, and
yeah.
and you don't know who the guy is. If maybe I got that wrong. You knew that she was seeing a guy.
That's one of the things that concerned me, is that she would bring him up from time to time, and there was other signs. I mean, there's, I think, 5 to 10 other men. I was in denial about it in this time period. That's not a crime, obviously, but it was. She's very impulsive, very erratic, doesn't think things through. She will do them and then worry about the consequences later. She was remarkably sloppy about cheating on me in terms of. Well, that's what was interesting. Up until about early June, she was covering her tracks pretty well, actually. I'd heard of Daniel Sack. I knew he was an ex-boyfriend. But after that fight, we had not a huge fight, we had a mild fight about that. And things started to get really, really strange. And this is what I think I had a hard time getting across to Investigator Hale. So we have that fight. She goes to Portland for a weekend. She comes back. It's now June. In June, I was walking around saying to all my friends, I don't know what is going on. Something is going on. We had that very frank talk about that and decided to stay together. She said, it's one guy. He's gone. He literally moved out of the area, as you probably know. So Sack, yeah. So I said, okay. One thing about Wendy is this is where I worry about the crime. She's very easily influenced. She doesn't have much of a sense of self. And when she was with Danny, she kind of became Danny's extension of Danny, attached herself to him. She didn't attach herself to Sack. He was into polyamory and having multiple partners. He's bisexual. I mean, so she started doing all this crazy stuff. Sack was encouraging her, from what she said, to have sex with lots of people, not just him. I worry about her. So I've just seen her, and doesn't want to be controlled, but she does want to be controlled. I mean, she into a lot of sex stuff and things where she wants to be told what to do. And one of the things I worry about is that somebody came up with this idea and she went along with it because she doesn't know how to say no. She hates confrontation, things like that. So in June, I was walking around saying to my friends, I don't know what's going on. It's just uncanny to think back on it now. I said, I don't know what's going on, but something's gonna happen. It feels like there's drum beats. It feels like we're moving towards something. It's really, really strange. I don't know what's going on. And one of the strange things that happened was we had a trip to California scheduled to see my parents the week that Danny was killed. And in early June, she rescheduled that trip. And I said, what's the problem with the trip? And she says, well, I'm worried we'll get stuck in the airport and we won't be back on Friday. I have to pick up the kids from school. I said, but we're coming back Thursday night. It's not winter. We're not going. Winter in the winter, I would understand. There's no way we're going to get stuck. We can rent a car. We have friends that could babysit. This is strange. I said, fine, cancel the trip.
And that was going to be in early June?
The trip was going to be the week that Danny was killed.
Oh, okay. That was the trip?
11th to 19th was supposed to be the trip. So we had a trip planned, and she was real strange about the fact that we had to reschedule this trip. It just didn't make sense. And I even said, if you just don't want to go because you don't feel comfortable right now, just tell me, that's cool. She goes, no, I have to pick up the kids from school that day. I just have to. I don't want to do anything that would stop that, And she said, I'll miss the kids at that point. I said, okay. A couple of days later, I say, well, she said, but I want to spend that time with you. I was leaving for Tennessee on Friday. And she said, I want to spend that Monday through Thursday with you. I said, great. You want to go to St. Augustine? She loves the beach. She hates Tallahassee. This, again, is just very strange and suspicious to me. Wendi Adelson tells me, what I want to do is a staycation. I want to stay home in Tallahassee. And I said, you want to stay in Tallahassee the hottest week of the year? He goes, yeah, we'll go to Tom Brown Park, we'll do this. I said, you hate it here. I'm offering to take you away. Why wouldn't you? It's just really strange at the time. I remember saying to my friends, like, Wendy wants, people laughed. I said, Wendy says she wants to stay in Tallahassee. Like, she leaves town, sure you know, every chance she gets, she leaves town. Why would she want to stay? I I said, I don't know. I have no idea. I finally managed to convince her to do a trip to St. Augustine, but we had to schedule it so that we were back basically by the time of the shooting. So that was just strange. It was peculiar at the time. And when we scheduled that trip to St. Augustine, I was sitting there, she has her calendar open. You have to schedule everything with her. That's just how she was. There was just, at the time, I can remember sitting in her office trying to schedule this, and there was this weirdness about that weekend. We're scheduling other things, no problem, but that weekend, she just was intent on. That day meant something to me before Danny was shot. Like, there's something weird about that week. I don't know what it is, but there's something weird about that week. If we keep going through June, other things I noticed in June that were really crazy.
Let me back up a second
please,
so I get this right.
Yeah.
July 11th through 19th, you're supposed to go to California.
Yeah.
Leave on the 11th, come back on the 19th.
I can look it up for you. It might be 12th to 19th, but it was the week that Danny was shot. Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
So when is she saying, I can't do it? What date? What date are we talking about when she's telling you I can't do it?
Early June. I can pull up exactly.
Early June.
Early June, yeah.
So you're supposed to go to California with her, just you two.
We have plane tickets purchased. And she sat me down, I think it was June 5th or 7th. I will find out for you if you would like.
Yeah.
And she just said, I can't do that. And it just didn't make sense. It just didn't make any sense.
So she'd already said that date was that window of
She said, this is the one week I have to go see your parents. And I
11th
said,
through the 19th.
But that was in May we booked them. Then we have the flight. I find out about Danielle's sack. And afterwards she says, I feel uncomfortable with that. She just had an appointment with her therapist, and she said that my main concern is I want to be able to see the kids on that day, the day that Danny was shot. We had people volunteering to babysit if they needed to, if we were delayed. We weren't going to be delayed. And she insisted it was not because she didn't want to go with me. She wanted to spend that week with me. She just wanted to spend that week with me in Tallahassee. She did not want to leave Tallahassee that week.
Okay.
And I mean, there's 3 different times. There's that time, then there's the staycation thing where I'm like, what are you talking about? That's bizarre. And then there was which we scheduled the trip to St. Augustine. If I fast forward a little bit, we had the trip in St. Augustine planned until July 15th or 16th, and she canceled that the last second. So 3 different times she canceled plans with me in the 2 or 3 day period where Danny was shot.
What you're leading to is this is highly suspicious that she needs to be here on the 18th of July.
Yeah, just anecdotally, subjectively, whatever it's worth, it was really weird. It was really strange. I know this woman. I know her really well. And there was something at the time with me saying to my friends, what's going on? It's just really, really strange. It's just really...
She'd never done anything like this before?
No, she had canceled and recanceled, and she did that all the time. Completely disorganized person. But it usually made sense. It usually had a reason. And usually the reason was something about court with Danny, or the parents wanted to come down to South Florida. Every other time but this, I understood. This time I was completely puzzled. It didn't make sense. And it was very, very strange.
Okay, so she cancels this trip to California. Did you go anyway?
I did
No,
not.
of course you didn't. You were okay.
Wish I had.
Yeah. And so what happens to these plane tickets?
Her ticket, I have no idea.
Oh, she bought her own?
Yeah, we bought separate plane tickets. As a matter of fact, I don't know that she did buy a plane ticket.
Oh.
But she told me she did.
Same airline? Same flight?
I can find out for you. I can send you my reservation. Because we had a discussion about getting our seats moved together, so I think she probably bought a ticket, actually. But I never saw the ticket.
It wasn't discussed any further?
I can't recall.
Okay, so that's the first thing. In early June, she says, Jeff, I got to be back on that Friday the 18th.
Exactly.
To pick up the kids. I guess that's going to be the first of her week with the kids, maybe?
Yeah, she gets the kids back after having, because they went to 7-day schedule in the summer.
Right.
And she's going, I'll miss the kids. I said, we'll be back. It's not, I said, if you don't want to go, just tell me I don't want to go. No, I want to go. I just got to be back for the kids. There was a special...
Okay, why not adjust the flight or adjust the...
I don't Well, she had the kids the previous week. This was her one free week. She's also booked all summer.
Well, the 18th is a Friday.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so, going backwards, the 11th should have been a Thursday, I'm thinking.
I could look it up, but it just wasn't. She was booked week by week throughout the summer.
She doesn't even have any school stuff, right? I mean, I don't know if you're off during that
No,
time.
I'm completely off. She has a lot of obligations to her parents. Her parents want her down in Miami every chance she gets. All through this county, there's parents.
All right,
so three different occasions. This at the time, it's like, oh, what's going on with the 18th of July or the week of the 18th? What is this? I don't understand what this is.
Okay, so the first thing is the California trip, and it's next.
Yes.
Then you want to take her to St. Augustine, because
Yeah, she wants to stay, and that's just bizarre.
But did you ever make plans to go to St. Augustine?
Yeah, so a week later, again, we sat in front of the calendar, and it was really strange. There was this hesitancy about that weekend. She says, I'll go to St. Augustine, but we have to be back early on Friday.
Early on Friday?
Early on Friday.
What does early on Friday mean?
We were going to wake up and come straight back from St. Augustine, so we would have got up at 7, been here by 9 or 10.
Okay.
She had to pick up the kids from school till 4. It didn't make sense.
Okay.
So I said fine, and my thing was I was going to drop her off and then drive up to Atlanta. I was going to drop her off and go. So that was just strange. It just stuck in my head. Like, what?
Because your trip to your friend up in Tennessee, what was the date you were supposed to go?
I was supposed to leave at about 10 or 11 a.m. on Friday the 18th.
Okay.
Because I was supposed to the original trip was to go straight to Atlanta, stay the night in Atlanta, then go up to Tennessee the next day. So I was supposed to leave here at 10 or 11 and get there at 4 or 5.
On Friday afternoon?
Friday afternoon, yeah.
Okay.
That changed, but that was the original.
No, because you left on Thursday.
Yeah, I did.
All right, well, let's jump to that so I can fill in this blank.
Yeah.
Why did you leave on Thursday?
We'd had a huge fight in late June. I discovered some other cheating. I was very upset with her. And she had sent me we had sort of broken up, basically. But she put me on a 7-day hold.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember that.
Yeah.
She sent you an email or
Yeah,
something?
Exactly. So the night before, I was so upset. I was just like, fuck this, I'm going. I said, get out of town. I was upset. But that's something my friends have said to me that I've never said this, but my friends have said, Jeff, because sometimes it's hard for me to see this clearly, they can see it more clearly. Jeff, you do realize that if you left Friday at 11 a.m. for Atlanta, what this would have looked like, you would have been in custody. You're really.
Oh. Okay.
Now, I'm not saying that, but some of my friends, it was like a clumsy attempt to take attention off her and put it on me. I'm not saying that's true. It sounds a little far-flung to me. It sounds a little clumsy to me. But she knew exactly when I was going to leave. I'm a late riser, and she didn't know I changed my plans, obviously. So I'm glad I changed my plans. I wouldn't blame you guys for being a little more suspicious if you didn't. I mean, if I leave at 11, I don't get a flat tire. You just see me driving north 10 minutes after Danny showed up. So that looks suspicious to a lot of people. I know it makes it sound like a criminal mastermind. It may sound crazy to you, but that's what my friends say. So can I go back to the stuff in June?
Absolutely, I'm sorry.
Any questions you want to ask? And I know I talk fast, and I...
Just a little faster than I'm used to.
My dad's from Boston, so I'm an adopted Southerner, but I haven't slowed down yet. So, in June, these are just my impressions, but there was 5 or 6 times in June I'm playing with the kids. We had a good family life, terrible romantic relationship because she was cheating me all the time. But I'm home with the kids with her, nice family life.
You at her house out on...
Every time, yeah.
Cameron.
Exactly, off Aqua Ridgewood Lane, yeah, nice house. So 4 or 5 times in late June, I'm playing with the kids, reading them stories. I was very close to Ben in particular, spent a lot of time with those children. And I look out of the corner of my eye, and Wendy would be in the kitchen crying for no reason whatsoever. And at the time, what it looked like to me is she's like taking it all in, and she looked like she was grieving something. And I would say, what's wrong? And she'd say, nothing's wrong. Or make up some bullshit story. And she lied so much, it was hard to know. But in retrospect, it makes me worry a lot because it looked like she was wrestling with something. It wasn't suspicious, it was just weird. But in retrospect, it's like, wow, let's assume she knew something was going to happen. That's how a person might react, She made a choice, but
That's late June.
That's late June. That's late June. So that happened enough times that I talked to my friends about it. Also in June, Wendy's a pretty good liar if you get in front of her for an hour or two at a time. And I mean, Danny's put that in court documents. It's not a secret that she lies a lot. It's how she navigates the world. But she has a problem with her lying in that I found out she cheated on me with Danny because she kind of accidentally told me by talking about him all the time, and she's just sloppy. So longitudinally, she couldn't keep her story straight. You know, in the short term, 4 hours, 8 hours at a time, okay. Over a month, saying, well, what about that thing? The stories start, but she talks constantly. She's very extroverted, very narcissistic, very focused on herself, very self-involved. Well, what she was talking about in June, relocation to Miami. How terrible it was to be stuck in Tallahassee. Crying like, I got stuck here, I didn't choose this, I can't stand it. And she talked about the fact that the only way she could ever relocate is if something happened to Danny.
Now, did she actually say that?
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
This is the first time you've mentioned that.
I don't think so. I think I did mention that to Investigator Hale.
Okay. I may have missed it.
Well, no, it wasn't. I had 3 interviews with Investigator Hale. And
okay.
The next 2 was me trying to tell him things like this, and I don't think he was hearing me.
Okay.
So, no, she didn't say that I killed Danny. She didn't say that word for word. But it was, because I was saying, hey, we're about to, get serious here. Are you going to be here? Because she hated it so much. I need to know what's going to happen. And she's like, well, the only way let me give you the context. The only way I could leave is if something happened to Danny. But if that did happen, that would be a tough decision. I would probably need to go back to Miami to be with my parents. So that scenario came from her, but it was a response to a question from me. So, I guess I need to be fair about that one.
Sure.
But it was, and it's true, right? I mean, it was, I asked if Danny might move with her. She said she would not be willing to do that. But she was talking about that.
She would not be willing to do that?
No, she didn't. Well, Danny had job offers from all over the country constantly, and she didn't want to live in Houston or St. Louis or things like that. She was miserable here. She was here just because she came with Danny. She didn't like her job. She didn't like the area. She didn't like split custody. I don't know that people knew how upset she was. I mentioned to you before you came into the room when I said this, but this is the time period. I don't know the exact day. I'm so distracted by relationship stuff, I can't quite remember it. But she told me that Charlie had looked into having Danny killed in the summer of 2013. She meant it dead serious. I wish to God I'd follow up on that. At the time, trying to figure out us, and I thought, well, Charlie's crazy, I can imagine that, but certainly he's not crazy enough to do that, so I didn't worry about it.
That's your interpretation.
It's not mine.
No, let's back up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's get into the context of your conversation with her where that comes up about Charlotte.
Please. So she just, she's talking about Danny. She is completely...
Where are we at?
We're at her house in the living room in late June.
In late June of 2013?
Yeah, 2014, yeah.
I'm sorry, 2014.
Yeah, late June. And you know what, this might have even been, this is sometime between June 20th and the Monday before Danny was shot.
Okay.
And I want to say it was right before, but I don't trust my memory on that, the date. And she's talking about Danny because that's all she ever talked about. Danny wasn't a human being, he was Satan.
He was what?
He was Satan.
Satan, okay.
Yeah. And what was real strange about this was that in January, February, March, they had a lot of court stuff, and I could see why she'd be so pissed off at Danny. Danny had calmed down. He liked his new girlfriend. The judge had read him the riot act in court when they went to court the one time and told the other attorney, you need to calm your client down and stop having your client write his own legal briefs. I'm sick of reading this crap. Danny was going to get his butt handed to him by the court, and Wendy was going to have to concede a couple things, but she was going to win, everybody thought. And he had calmed down. He really had. So I was trying to say, maybe we could talk about Danny a little less. Danny's chill. Danny's happy with Amy. This is good. This is good for us, And I was starting to see Danny a little more realistically at that point. So she's in the middle of these conversations where she's just ranting and raving about Danny. Very angry with Danny. She's very sensitive, and the worst thing you could do for Wendy is point out that she's not perfect. And that's what Danny represented to her is, he said, you're a liar. Things like that. Anyway, she just comes out of the blue, and I said, well, I just wish something, I can't remember exactly what I said, but I was like, this isn't going to ever be fixed in the way you want it. You're linked to this man for your life. There's no fix for this, but you have to fix what you think and feel. And And she said, well, you know, Charlie did look into having him killed last summer. He said it would cost about $15,000.
$15,000?
That's right. It seems cheap to me, but you would know better than I. And
it's, I want to make sure I understand this completely.
Please.
So, June, what was the date?
Between June 20th and March 14th, let's say. I think it's probably... I think it's closer to July, between June 20th and July 14th. I think it's closer to July 14th.
Okay. She says, you know, Charlie
did actually look into having him killed last summer. And he was told it would cost $15,000. And one of Charlie's...
This is just paraphrased, but I want to make sure I understand. Yeah. Charlie did look into having
Danny killed last summer. It would cost about $15,000. And that's not exactly word for word, but that's pretty close to what she said. I wish to God I had followed up. But how do you respond to that? What do you say?
What did you say?
I changed the subject to us. I was interested in working our relationship out.
Did she ever bring that up again?
No. Never again. But what worries me is that the speech pattern, I'm not trying to play FBI profiler here, but it's kind of similar to when she would say, you know, Daniel Sack and I had coffee yesterday. Well, that means her Daniel Sack had sex all day. That's what that means. That's how she lies. So the fact that she would leak a little bit of it out scares me.
Which is kind of like, I told you half a truth instead of half a lie.
That's how she lies. That's exactly. I'm sure you've done that on anyway. So it doesn't have the impulse control just to say nothing in high-stress situations, but it gives you this half-assed version. Yeah. So I thought about that a lot.
But you do remember the amount is $15,000?
I do remember that.
No further than that, nothing else?
There was nothing else. I wish I followed up. I beat myself up about this.
No, you didn't.
What am I going to do, call you guys and say my girlfriend said something crazy? I don't know, you know. The thing that worried me about Charlie is he has a very close friend and goes on these trips with him who's ex-special forces and is known for being kind of deranged, and I thought that guy was done by somebody who knew what they were doing. So I told you guys that already.
What's his name, though? I never got a name.
I don't know. I assumed you guys investigated it. I don't know. He's a tatted up... known affectionately as a deranged guy. Guy just didn't come back the same like some of these guys do, unfortunately.
But he's a close friend of Charlie's?
It's on his Facebook page. That's what I told investigator Hale.
Okay.
When I heard the crime occurred, about 12 hours I was shocked, and then as I'm driving up I-75, in my head I was like, holy shit, Charlie did it, and he got that guy, I can't remember his name, to do it.
You're saying this guy is on Charlie's Facebook page, or was?
Was. I don't know if he is.
Okay.
These are really smart people. I wouldn't be Facebook friends with them anymore if any of this is true. Other thing that happened in June, our relationship isn't doing well. All of a sudden, from nowhere, you know, like a 5-year-old kid will try to manipulate you in a very transparent way, and it's like obvious what they're doing. She started doing that kind of stuff. I got the sense we weren't going to make it. It was obvious to me, and I never going to trust her again. All of a sudden, she throws me the world. And I thought at the time, I said to my friends, I've been very careful not to develop like a hindsight bias. I've checked back in with my friends. What did I say? They said, you said in June it felt like Wendy was stringing you along for some reason. And you couldn't figure out why didn't she just break up with you? She's like, this ain't gonna work, you know. So all of a sudden, she's telling me I should move in.
Move in with her?
Yeah, she's talking about moving in. And I wanted a family so bad. She knew that. She manipulated me with the kids constantly. She said the kids should start calling you daddy. I'm going to talk to my mom and dad, and I'm not Jewish. That was the whole thing. I'm going to get approved by the parents. I'm going to give you the passwords. I'm going to give to all my computer accounts. She started acting like this was going to be a permanent thing.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. I can give you a second.
I have to respond to this.
I understand.
Right now.
I understand.
Okay, that'll suffice for a while.
No problem. So just at the time, I felt like I was being manipulated. I couldn't figure out why she'd want to keep me around. It was really strange. Just all of a sudden, here's the world. Just all of a sudden being over the top sweet.
I hate it. Jeff, I'm confused about this timeline here.
Yeah,
Maybe we should try to get that.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Okay, where's this week off?
That's in July. I've been going.
Okay.
I've been going in order.
Okay.
So we're still in June right now.
Okay, so we're in, but this comment from late June of the 20th through the July 14th is before or after what you're telling me now?
I can't remember exactly.
And it's my fault.
No, it's okay. No, it's not a fault. I can't remember. I want to be as honest and accurate as I can.
Sure.
I think that's the Monday before he was shot, but I can't be certain. So this would be preceding that.
Preceding,
Preceding
okay.
that.
Okay.
Yeah. So it just felt strange. These are just my impressions, but it's like, what is going on? To give you an example, I would just be kissing Wendy, and all of a sudden she's like, like a porn star. I've been with a lot of women. Women don't behave like it's just. And we've been together 9 months. I've never seen this before. It's like
Brand new behavior.
Yeah, brand new behavior. I'm going. What's going on? All of a sudden she wants me to. It just didn't make any sense. It was just really strange, erratic behavior.
She wants you to what, though?
Well, I was threatening to leave at this point.
Okay.
So, and I guess if I'm putting on my cop show hat, I'm wondering if it would have looked weird if you break up with your boyfriend and then a week later someone gets shot. You know what I mean? I don't know. So, get to mid to late June. She went down to South Florida. She came back. I could tell she had cheated on me. I was very upset. It's very obvious. And I went to Gainesville, June 27th. She accompanied me down there for a work trip.
Okay. 27th?
Yeah, that weekend together. Had to use the GPS on the way down there, and in it I discover that, last 50 destinations get recorded. I didn't mean to look at this one, but I see she's been in the Hilton in Orlando, like 2 weeks ago when she wasn't supposed to be anywhere near Orlando. She had put the Hilton in. Mm-hmm. Assumed that's like a sex trip with one of these other boyfriends. So I got really upset with her, and we finally had it out.
In Gainesville?
Yeah. Saturday I tried to, thing was she was going back to Miami for 2 weeks. As soon as we got back, we drive back to Tallahassee, then she drives down to Miami with her mom.
Oh.
So that was because her mom has to come up to take with her because she's not allowed to go herself. I knew it was the worst time in the world to have a fight. I just finally lost my mind on her. The only reason this is relevant to the investigation is it precedes this crime by a couple weeks. I did not touch her, I did not call her names, but I lost my shit on her. I told her exactly how upset I was. I'd shoot her ass. She decompensated in a way that I've never seen an adult do before. She ended up in the fetal position, sobbing like a 3-year-old, and completely fell apart when I said, I looked at you, left your planner out on the table, and I looked at it, and they know Zach's names all through it, so can we cut the bullshit and just have an honest conversation,
As in she was still seeing Zach recently?
Yeah, she saw Zach September to May.
Okay.
And she insisted that they had broken up in the fall, and that his name's not very clever. I mean, it's the thing she's leaving out on the table. And it says Daniel Sack dinner, And she was doing very erratic things, like she would go to Daniel Sack's house, spend the afternoon with him, have sex with him, come see me, have sex with me. I had to go get a full STI workup. I'm putting my stuff someplace another man's been 45 minutes earlier. She conceded this. So I was really upset, as you can imagine. I mean, and put me with the kids on Mother's Day, and the next day I was really upset. So anyway, I was pretty angry with her. And you may have seen the email. She actually was manipulative enough that I ended up apologizing for that. Because,
was this on her Gmail account?
Yes. There's a lot of...
Other investigators have looked at those.
Gotcha.
And so I'd have to figure out which one.
Yeah. I'm just saying, if you see it, it's a little embarrassing.
I just didn't know if it was her Gmail account or her work account or a different account.
Yeah.
If I want to go back and look at it, I'm going to look at the Gmail.
Yeah, it's Gmail. It's all Gmail. Is my impression, at least. I think that's all I would use. So we had it out, and the reason that's important is she was very concerned about her social reputation. Are you going to tell anybody about this?
About what? Her having sex with Daniel?
And Miguel and Mahul and other men. Yeah, and I said, if we stay together, I won't. If we don't, I won't slander you, but let's be adults here. This is Tallahassee. How many people I know have cheated their wives in this town? Right. I must be realistic here. Right. I said, I'm not going to try to destroy your reputation, but you made these choices. And by the way, I'm not...
Did she give a reason?
it's deeply important to her she be perceived a certain way.
No, did she give a reason why she was having multiple sex partners?
Not a good one, no. I mean, she said she didn't, actually. She said she was very upset by my behavior in Immokalee when we had what you or I would probably consider normal range, uncomfortable conversations for 30 seconds. Or I said, like, she said, I was afraid in Immokalee you were going to be a jerk. And I was like, I said, could you please be more considerate to me? That's literally all I said. She's a hair trigger. I think she didn't want a boyfriend, is my suspicion. But I think I was awful helpful with the kids and stuff like that.
Okay, I got you.
I think she enjoyed using me as her.
Okay, let's narrow this down.
Yeah.
Okay, June 27th. You're telling me is the date that you're in Gainesville and you have this blow up.
Yeah, we have a total blow up.
Okay, so is the comment about Charlie and the 15 grand after that?
It is after that.
Okay, so we can narrow it down to the 27th and after.
You know what? I just want to be as conservative as I can, but I'm almost positive that was July, the Monday before he was shot. If I had to bet money on it, that's where I'd put my money.
Okay.
So, when I was talking to her about that, I was struck by how cold and callous and basically sociopathic she was. Here I am, I was crying, I was very upset, and I said, you're not a sociopath, you must feel bad about this on a certain level. And she goes, I don't know if I'm a sociopath, I don't feel bad about any of this. And she was laughing and describing some of the experiences she'd had with other men, actually. She was making it clear they were very enjoyable and stuff like that. I'd never seen that from men. I've never seen that from a woman before. It was...
What kind of...
I said, there was this one night where you said you were at book club. I know you weren't at book club. She's like, I was pretty drunk that night. I had a really good time that night.
Is she rubbing this in your face, you think, or is it...
She was, but it was just strange because I'm not the one that did any. I was completely faithful to this woman, and I was very dedicated. Well, you could ask anybody. But
had there ever been a confusion about, Jeff, I'll just be in simple, elementary terms. Jeff loves Wendy. Wendy loves everybody. You see what I'm getting at?
No, that's what
you understood her that she was supposed to be strictly with you?
Yeah, just from March on. Before that, I knew what she was doing before that. March on, I've been to 50 dinner parties where I'm introduced as her boyfriend. She took me out in public constantly. The Daniel Sack thing, they went to the movies and stuff, but in general, they're at his house. I think they went to yoga and some things too. I got some weird looks from people in public sometimes that made me, it's one of the reasons I got suspicious. I go to yoga and this one guy be looking at us. I was like,
what are you doing there?
I just got the impression was she here with somebody else? That kind of thing. But no, I think that was probably maybe what she wanted. I don't know how relevant it is. I guess what's relevant is that I'm over the butthurt being thing. This stuff happens. But publicly, I was her boyfriend. I was. That's one of the things that, I don't know if it was an investigative technique or not reading the file, but Investigator Hill kept calling Daniel Sack her boyfriend. And that got me pretty fired up. And that's one of the reasons I might not have made a lot of sense, because that was really, it provoked me. I don't know if that's on accident or purpose, but it was one of these things where, he didn't seem to know that I was her boyfriend, and he thought Daniel Sack was. It was one of the
Hale did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to be quite honest. My understanding was Sack was before you and her hooked up.
Yeah, then she went back to him after spring.
But I thought he went west or north or something.
He's in Massachusetts, and he left in late May. So there's 2 months there. Where
I thought he'd been gone way before that.
No. He was
May of 2014?
May of 24. May 20th, 2014 is when he left.
You know that for a fact?
Yeah.
I got something that sounds conflicting to it. May 20th of 2014?
Yeah, May 20th or 21st, it was on his Facebook page that he left Tallahassee that day.
Okay.
And, no, I know when he was having sex with him in March, April, and May.
Sack went to Massachusetts?
Mm-hmm. Amherst, University of Amherst in Massachusetts. And the coffee shop thing was May around that same time. I'd have to look up the exact date, but it was that same
Just
way.
prior to?
Well, I walked in on him having a goodbye coffee together.
Oh, goodbye coffee.
He was leaving town the next day. And that's one of the things I was saying when I was talking to Investigator Hale is if men obsessed with Wendy are suspects, you can't trust her to tell you the truth about that. I mean, this is a woman who was separated from Danny, had that boyfriend Miguel, and in a deposition lied and said, I'm not seeing anybody. And it's a licensed lawyer who will lie to the court. So that's our narrative to the public, by the way, is that Daniel and I saw each other in the fall, and then that was it.
Say again, please.
That Daniel and I dated in the fall, and then in the spring, her and I had a conversation January 10th, and she told me, like, let's see more of each other, and then as of March 1st, I'm her boyfriend. That's not what happened. She just saw him continually.
Give me a minute here.
Yeah.
You need something?
If you have a water, I'm
Yeah.
going to dry mouth, I'd appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay, the 27th of June is when you went to Gainesville.
That's right, 27th to 29th.
All right, 27th through 29th, you're in Gainesville.
Mm-hmm.
You see the planner. You see Sack's name everywhere.
Well, I seen her earlier in the month, but I confronted her on that in Gainesville.
Okay. And you at a hotel or something?
Mm-hmm.
And so did she get upset with you? Does she claim you're snooping or something? Or
That bothered her, but mainly she just collapsed, just sobbing like an infant, just acting really, really crazy. I mean,
you're basically saying, you know, you're seeing me, but at the same time you're screwing this guy.
I said, I know about Daniel Sack, Wendy. I know you never stopped seeing him.
But you already know because you've seen him at the coffee shop. Do you
Yeah,
not?
but I didn't see him screwing. I mean,
No. But I mean, did you place? Is this Daniel Sack at the coffee shop?
It is. It is.
You knew that when you saw him.
I knew who Daniel Sack was when I walked in at the coffee shop. I didn't know he'd be there, but I knew I recognized him.
Facial recognition.
Yeah, I looked him up on the web because she talked about him constantly, so I looked him up.
All right.
And that, I guess the important thing about that meeting is it seemed to like shatter her. She's so fragile, and she wants to be seen as this moral, ethical person. She's a friggin' humanitarian on the web, right? I mean, human trafficking and social work. And all
The what now?
She's like a humanitarian if you look her up on the web. You know,
Okay.
she wants to be seen as this ethical, loyal person.
Okay.
And she couldn't handle it, so she like lost her shit in a way I just want to say I've never seen. She sobbed, but the next morning she sobbed all the way from Gainesville to Tallahassee, and I was upset, but it was.
But I thought, and you know, you're just going to have to bear with me
Sure,
as
sure.
far as I thought that after I can see that she's in this fetal position.
Yeah.
She's demoralized.
Yeah.
Whatever. And then I thought she snaps right out of it and says, "I had a great time."
That's what concerns me. Is I used to work in a psych hospital. I've seen this kind of stuff before. It's a good question. She was vacillating between, it was crazy. 1 minute confessing, literally telling me I wanted to sexually experiment with people, I wasn't ready, this kind of stuff. The next minute, I never did that. I mean, it was like insane.
Contradicting what you just said?
Absolutely. And on the way back up, she goes, I never did any of that. I said, well, you confessed to me like 7 different times last night. I did not. It was crazy.
Okay.
Absolutely insane. So if it doesn't make sense, I understand because it didn't make sense.
Okay. Let me go back to this special forces guy.
Yeah.
Okay. So, are you Charlie's friend on Facebook? Or
I was.
Okay, you were.
I was. I was until all this stuff happened, and then I defriended everybody that was associated with Wendy just to clean my life up.
Okay, but when you were on the Facebook, a friend on Charlie's Facebook page, you're saying that this guy that you knew as being a special forces, ex-military, psychopath, whatever.
Yeah, by reputation. Yeah.
Okay, by reputation. Did you ever hear a name being called?
There's pictures of him and Charlie together on the page, though.
Okay. Do you have any of that saved?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
Can you describe the guy?
I couldn't. I mean, he's a big guy. He looked like a
Tattoos?
Tattoos, looked like an ex-ranger or something. And Charlie doesn't have that many friends. It can't be that hard to track down because there's like this foursome of them that hangs out, and my memory is that he is part of Charlie's crew, you know.
The inner circle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And certainly Wendy talked about him a lot. She'd heard a lot of stories, you know. So
But you can't recall a name?
I can't.
Nickname?
there's all these crazy, and I can't remember the stories, but all these crazy stories when these guys were drinking and partying, but all stories like that, drinking stories and things like that.
Okay, was there any other, so this was just what you're seeing on Charlie's page.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have interaction with this guy directly.
Never met him. Wendy talked about him periodically because she found him amusing. She'd met him a few times.
And what was?
He's crazy. I mean, but in a fun way. It wasn't like negative. And I mean, if Charlie arranged a killing of Danny Markel, I don't know that it would be that guy. He was just the first guy that popped into my head. Like, well, that's got to be something else looked at. I mean,
So you're basically putting this guy's face as someone who would carry out the wishes of Charlie.
Yeah, because these guys are close friends, is my impression through Wendy. Also, this show looked like somebody who had done this before. This guy's reputation is that he was doing building-to-building combat in Fallujah or whatever, so it wouldn't be a new thing. So that's why it popped into my head.
Okay, was there any, and we're just talking, but was there anything that would lead you to believe that this person had committed something like this before?
No, not at all.
So it wasn't like, here's G.I. Joe and got 40 kills under his belt or anything like that?
Oh, I think his reputation was of a combat-hardened veteran that had seen real stuff.
How is a periodontist or whatever, Charlie, is some type of specialized?
He's a periodontist, that's right.
Okay.
He's a very interesting guy, and you may have known guys like this. I know some in Tallahassee. He's friends with people on both sides of the tracks. He's got friends that are physicians and professors and all that. He's got guys he hangs out at his gym that don't have a high school diploma, and he's able to buddy up with them too. He's very good socially. Charlie is street smart. He comes off kind of like a con man. He's really good with women. He's one of those con man womanizer types. Different girl every night. Very socially smooth. So he enjoys flowing from one side of society. He has a Ferrari. I mean, he could just hang out in the upper crust. He doesn't. He enjoys slumming with these other guys, So I think he's taken trips with that guy, though. If you're going to look into it, I believe he's part of the crew that went to South America.
I have somebody checking right now to see if maybe we're talking about the same person.
Yeah, I don't know. By the way, Charlie is so industrious and so street smart that if it wasn't that guy, it wouldn't make me any less suspicious that Charlie was involved. He just was the natural first thing that popped into
So what do you think, Jeff? You don't, okay, so when you first started talking to me today, and don't take this the wrong way, but when you first started talking to me, I thought we were fixing to crucify Wendy right here as far as everything, and that she was directly involved. Not necessarily that she killed her ex-husband, but had solicited for someone to do it.
I still believe that. I'm 100%, I never say 100%, I'm a researcher. I was 90% sure when I talked to you guys in July. I was waiting for you to catch somebody, because then maybe I'm crazy, right? So then when Myron May happened, I thought maybe it was Myron May, I'm just wondering. At this point, I'm pretty confident. I got a couple, can I give you a couple other things first?
Yeah, but just slow for me, please.
Yeah, because there's a couple other, just two other suspicions.
Let me just, before you get into that, I don't want to throw off your train of thought, but I want to address this. This is an email that I think you're referring to. I'll give you an opportunity to read it.
Yep, that's the one she sent. That's where I'm going right now.
Okay, so this is July 15th. Is that accurate?
That's right.
Okay, July 15th is the Tuesday before.
The thing she told me about Charlie would have been the night before this.
Okay, so we are on the 14th.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, it would have been Monday, July 14th. That's actually just where I was going for right now.
Go ahead.
So she goes to South Florida for 2 weeks. We barely talk. It's hard on both of us. You guys have emails. It's bullshit romance stuff going back and forth. We had one long conversation and decided to patch things up. She sounded very calm in this conversation.
These are phone conversations?
Yeah.
She's in Miami.
She's in Miami. And while she's in Miami, she always says, she would just disappear for 14 days. I wondered if there was another man down in Miami too. It seemed plausible because her parents take care of the kids. It doesn't make sense how busy she is. Come back Monday, we go on a date. That's the 14th. That's the night that...
okay, you're on the date here.
Yeah, we're on a date here. It was real awkward. And she was a little strange, but it was overall a pretty positive date. So I had some hope in terms of the relationship. She said that thing about Charlie. I was so I think I'm so distracted by all this relationship stuff. That's the reason I didn't follow up on that bizarre thing she says about Charlie having Danny killed. But at the end of the night, she wants me to drop all the Daniel Sack stuff, everything else. She goes, that never happened. And I said to her, Wendy, we can break up, but I'm not going to go on a relationship pretending like this didn't happen. It happened. So she doesn't know how to. Danny's the only real relationship she ever had. I said, I know you don't know how this works, but if you want to go to a counselor, you can, or you talk it out. But you don't just say that never happened. This happened. And she seemed to find that devastating. Back to the who knows about this, who's going to know about this. Does your friend Steven know about this? Like, Jesus, you know.
That's on the 14th.
It's on the 14th. So
that you're having this conversation during or after your date?
After the date.
Back at her house?
Back at her house. Back
Okay.
at her house. Yeah, and didn't have wine that night. She was sick. She got back cold. She was really stressed out and sick. So the next day is Tuesday the 15th. Wake up in the morning, I call Wendy, and I told investigator Hill this. I don't know if there's anything here, but it was kind of bizarre. Talk early in the morning, maybe 9 or 10, and I said, I'd like to see you today. I was a little encouraged. And she said, yeah, I'd love to see you. And she'd walked herself out of her house. I said, well, come hang out with you. She said, I'd love to spend time with you. And then I waited. 3 hours later, I get a phone call, and she's like, actually, I got into the house. Let's not do the afternoon. Let's just go to yoga together.
So where?
Yoga.
Okay.
So we went to yoga together. It was awkward as hell. She was cold. She was done. I could tell. So I'm sitting there at yoga going, okay, this is over. Walk her to her car at the end of yoga, and I say, you know, I love you. I don't know what else to say. And she goes, I know. I was like, well, that's not what you want.
So, I love you. And she goes, I know.
Oh, yeah.
Of course you do. I'm a goddess.
Talking about narcissism.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm like, I literally went, okay. And I just turned to leave. And I told Hale this, but I want to say it again. She goes, hey, Jeff, are you still going to Tennessee on Friday? And I say, I'm thinking, why the hell does she care? We're sorry.
You're walking away, you're separating?
Yeah, I wanted 10 paces away from her, and she says, hey, Jeff, are you still going to Tennessee on Friday? And I say, I lie. And I say, actually, it's up in the air, because we talked about if we broke up, I should come over and say goodbye to the kids. I was hoping she'd invite me over. And she said, well, she was deeply interested. She asked me 3 or 4 questions.
But this is after this, right?
It is after. No, that's not. I get this email at the end of the night. She goes home and she sends this email. This is after this. This is after the conversation. The conversation I'm telling you about right now happens an hour before I get this email.
An hour before. Okay, so we're still Tuesday the 15th?
Yeah, at 7 o'clock at night.
Okay.
I got out of yoga.
Okay.
So she asked 3 or 4 questions about under what circumstances would I go? Why am I thinking about not going? She seemed deeply interested in what I'm going to do on Friday. It just was bizarre. I was like, well, you know, whatever. Got home, got this email. What was so strange about this? We had just spent 16 days away from each other, thinking about things. Then I get this. I told her, if you don't want to do this, send me a text and say I can't do this anymore. Why would you string me along for a week? It's real strange.
I just want to make sure that we're on the
Yeah,
same page.
yeah.
And I'm going to read this aloud. So if there's something, it pains me to be writing this to you now, but here we go. I need some space to clear my head and to figure out how to move forward. I am heartsick, but my head and my heart are having 2 different reactions to us being together, and I can't reconcile them to be in this like you would want me to be. So she's saying you're coming on too strong, basically, is what I'm reading. You want a full commitment.
No, that's not how I read it, but I mean, it's...
Well, I mean, that's how I'm looking at it. Is that not true? I mean, okay, do you want a full commitment from her?
I wanted to continue the relationship, yes.
Okay.
But we had discussed just breaking up. We just spent 16 days apart thinking about things.
Right. You're 16 days apart. Then you go on a date on the 14th. She makes the comment about her brother was going to looked into killing Danny the previous summer, which had been summer of 2013. She didn't specify a month. You didn't question her any more about that.
I was too focused on this stuff. Yeah, I didn't.
No, when she's making this statement on you're saying the Monday.
Yeah.
Which would be the 14th.
Yeah.
When she makes this statement that Charlie had looked into having someone do this for 15, it was going to cost. Hey, how much does it cost to kill this guy? And the answer that Charlie gets is $15,000. He shares that with his sister.
Yes.
Okay. And then she says that to you, and that was in the context preceding that conversation was basically, what do you want to do? You don't like it here. I'm talking in your
That was part of the conversation. It was a constant conversation about Danny is awful, Tallahassee sucks. That's about all she ever said.
And I can't do anything. I'm stuck here because, I guess she got denied relocating with the kids.
She did.
And she's saying, I'm stuck here unless something happens to Danny. That's what you're getting at.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm getting at.
And then she just spills this out.
Yeah. And then I think, by the way, she just went to the bathroom. I think there was something like that where
But you're saying that, there was no more conversation about this. Is huge to me. This is like, my brother's already checked into it and it costs this much.
Yeah,
is it like this is still available and open, or 15 grand is too much we're too cheap?
This family's rich. I mean, it's nothing.
No, I know, but
what's... He's got petty cash in his office.
Okay, but was this like, this option still available? Is that how it was?
It was just said in passing, and I've mulled it over in my head 100 times. I didn't know what it meant.
Okay, so my brother checked into it, and it was going to cost 15 grand.
I'm just heartbroken in this situation. I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about how can I get this woman back.
I realize, but I'm trying to glean this from what the interpretation that you got from it.
Yeah.
I know you told me you didn't ask her anything more about it. I mean, a statement like this. Don't take this the wrong way, but if I was in your shoes, I'd be like, I'd be saying, what the hell are you talking about?
I got used to her craziness. That's to get her right. I mean, she's all over the place all the time. So I think I just wrote it off as another crazy thing Wendy says.
But you recall the amount.
I do, and I went back to a couple friends because I told them about this.
Right.
After Danny got shot, I said, holy shit. I mean, that's what happened. So I beat myself up about that.
No, I don't want you to beat yourself up. I just want to make sure that you didn't. I'm just trying to get you to see it. Is there anything else that you can recall? I'm not saying you did anything wrong.
I know, I get that.
I'm saying, are you sure you didn't miss something else in that conversation?
No, because it was right back to her and I.
Okay. All right.
Since you're going to be here, and that's not going to happen.
So this comment is made in passing as she's traipsing off to the bathroom.
Like, or her bedroom or something.
Comes back out. It's all okay.
And I say, I had a good time last night, or something like that. It was that kind of thing. So she sends me this email, and I don't know if it's coming on. I didn't know what to make of it. I sent it to some of my friends who know her pretty well. It said she's crazy, is what they said. I mean, why wouldn't she just break up with you? It doesn't even make sense. I should have broke up with her. But we've been apart 16 days. She wants another week. But recall that when she left Danny, she just moved out while it was gone. So confrontation isn't her thing, So maybe that's why. So Wednesday goes by. There's Thursday. Thursday, she.
You're still up in the air about leaving. You've told her, I don't know for sure if I'm leaving Friday or not.
That's right. She doesn't know for sure. I don't know if she would have or would have known. We have enough mutual friends that I told on Wednesday or Thursday that I was going, that it wouldn't shock me if she were able to find out that I was going. I mean, we have mutual friends.
But your answer to her was, I don't know yet. It's still up in the air.
That's right. But the next day I decided to go. So it was all
Wednesday.
Yeah, I decided to go for sure on Wednesday. Thursday, she changes her Facebook picture. I'm sure you've seen the picture of her in the beautiful purple dress. It's all over the media. And that was bizarre to me, because that's a Victoria's Secret dress. It's not a dress you hang out at your parents. You might wear it to a club if you're an undergrad. You might wear it to bed. You don't hang out at your parents' house wearing that dress. And to me, it was...
Was this a dress that you gave her?
No. But you saw the picture. It's fairly scandalous.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
But if you went to Google and typed in Wendy's name, she's a pretty girl, but you'll find nothing where she looks even close to how she looks in that picture. She looks gorgeous in that picture.
On the Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was suspicious to me after the fact that picture was changed 12 hours before Danny shot, and that's the picture that was distributed to the media. She's very concerned with her appearance and how she looks. So I know that maybe sounds crazy. Investigator Hale seemed to think it was, but I thought, this is so strange. She changed her Facebook picture twice in 2 years, and the night before Danny shot, and she's going to be all over the media, she looks like a Victoria's Secret model,
Okay.
So, but I was bothered enough by that picture, because it...
What was the prior picture?
Something that looks more like a 35-year-old woman with 2 kids would have on her Facebook page.
Okay.
All the other pictures, and she looks pretty enough, but that one looks... She looks amazing in that picture.
Okay.
She's not even that pretty raw. That picture, I think her dad
Photoshop.
Her dad photoshops that stuff. He does that kind of thing. So it was a picture produced for her by her father, I believe. So Friday I leave. Thursday night I leave. About an hour after I saw that picture, I said, fuck this, and I just drove out of town. The next day, Danny shot at 11 a.m. No one contacts me, which we have a lot of mutual friends, and they didn't. I talked to some of them after the fact. They tell me that they were under the impression that I was very likely an actual suspect in this case. I posted on Facebook from Tennessee Friday night at a time where it would have been impossible for me to ever have been here at the time of the shooting. I found this really puzzling, and what some people have told me after the fact is that you know, you guys searched Wendy's stuff. It says, talk to Jeff about stalking in her calendar. If somebody was stalking with you, would you need to write yourself a note to remind yourself to talk to somebody about it? Mm-hmm. It's real strange, especially since I never did anything approximate. I snooped. I conceded that I snooped. If I had any options, I don't feel badly about it at this point. She didn't contact me for 10 days. She told me that the police had instructed her that I was a suspect and she was not to return a text message that I sent her. That she could not do that. I actually recently dated a criminal defense attorney, just coincidentally, and she thought that was bizarre because she said they want you talking, you want to incriminate yourself, they're going to get access to this stuff. But
that didn't come from me.
I don't think it came from anyone. It was very strange. Well, I know legally you can't do that probably, but
no.
I mean, it's why would you want to? So I wasn't in the room with her. I don't know how she acted or whatever, but it was implausible that I did this. And I don't know if she told me I tried to protect you from the police. They want to know where your house was. They want to know this. I said, I don't need protecting. How come none of your friends called me or texted me? Well, they told me later that she seemed to be concerned that I actually did this.
Why would you do it?
I can find out. Why would I do it?
Well, what did she say? Well,
crime of passion. We're breaking up and Jeff's upset. Why would I go kill Danny because I'm upset with Wendy? And by the way, as soon as I heard he's dead, I said, that's it for us. She's back in Miami. That's it. I know. It's the dumbest thing ever. That's what I was doing. I work at FSU. I can't move. By the way, I was in the Air Force. Last time I fired a gun was an M16 in basic training, and I missed the target mostly. I'm not a shot. She also described to me how she knew the details of the crime scene, which sounded very precise, like someone that knew what they were doing. It's implausible she could actually think I did this. I'm a clumsy, absent-minded professor with osteoarthritis and a bad shoulder. I mean, so I don't know if she said that to you guys. I know you can't tell me that. But she was telling people in her social circle, apparently, that they shouldn't contact me, I guess. That, you know, this was really a possibility. And that just seems deeply suspicious to me. A lot of these people aren't really close friends with me, but I found out about this crime third hand. And that just struck me as incredibly strange. And suspicious, very suspicious. I just got a couple other things and then I'll answer the questions you have. I talked to Hale and I talked to you. One of the things that we might want to go over in a minute is when I talked to Officer Hale, I know you guys were under pressure. It was a crisis situation, as you were saying. But I was giving him a list of the men that I knew Wendy had been involved in to some degree. And a lot of times it was just suspicion of sexual involvement. I didn't know, but clearly she talked to them about a lot, so it'd be worth looking at. And Officer Hale, or Investigator Hale, was very polite and kind to me, even given the situation. Just simply wasn't interested in the long list of names. He said we're looking for a degenerate. We're not looking for these kind of guys you're saying. And I should have been more assertive, but she doesn't hang out with degenerates. This is actually a contract killing. There's going to be rich, powerful, influential men. And so there's some names that you didn't even want to write down. So that's the one thing from the previous meeting that was a thing. Just to wrap up the Wendy thing, 10 days later, she texts a friend of mine and says, does Jeff ever even want to talk to me ever again? And
who was that?
To a Fran Gamori, who's a mutual friend. I was pretty certain she was involved in this too at this point. She'd been down to the house, visited with the family a couple of times since the crime, describes it as just a bizarre environment when you walk in the room, so secretive and weird. But I mean, that was just strange because she didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything wrong, and by not contacting me, why would she say that if you guys told her not to I don't want to get my own relationship stuff tied up with the crime stuff, but it's just strange. Called Officer Hale, said, hey, just so you know, Wendy has a key to that house on Trescott. So I know there was some mystery and discussion and speculation. How'd the guy get in, or I don't know, the crime scene details. But Wendy's constantly losing keys and rediscovering them, all the time.
Right.
So she had keys. He didn't call me back on that, and I don't know if it was helpful or not. And then here's just a list of strange things that she said after the crime. I talked to her 3 or 4 times. She said, I love Tallahassee. I wanted to remain in Tallahassee for the rest of my life.
These are phone conversations?
Yeah, these are phone conversations. Danny has so many enemies, it will be impossible to figure out who did this. He's a pretty beloved man, and he was an abrasive guy, but that's a strange thing to say. I've never heard any sympathy from her one time about Danny. She still seems enraged, obsessed, and defiant about Danny. I told Officer Hale that her and Charlie went to dinner maybe 3 weeks after the crime. Charlie called it a celebration dinner via text. She puked on the table during the dinner after Charlie said something. She wouldn't tell me what he said. She said Charlie made a remark and I just puked everywhere.
Celebration dinner?
That's what Charlie called it. You can look up, if you have access to text, you can find out. Yeah, that's what she called it. When she was just in town, she was cracking jokes about Danny getting his head blown off. She said the kids are having problems, but not because of Danny's murder. So the kids are peeing the bed and having natural kid stuff, not because of Danny's murder. That's a really weird thing to say. Most people would say they're upset because their father just got killed. It seems to be important to her that it not be because of that. She was very upset that I attended Danny's memorial service. When the Tallahassee Democrat ran the story, they put, must have been her worst nightmare, front and center picture of Jeff Lacasse in the second row, sitting next to Stephen Tripodi and Frank Amori. She was telling people, like, why would he do that? He hates Danny. The man died. It doesn't matter what I thought of him. He died. He's my colleague. And then lots of strange and erratic behavior. She mailed me back every gift certificate I ever gave her. Just came in the mail with no return address. Started dating a woman that Wendy knew tangentially. And once Wendy found out about that, she called her and made sure, I don't know what she told her, but that blew up on me. So there's this aggressive component that people don't often see. And then when she was just in town last time, she asked Frank Amori, she's still painting me as a stalker. She said, do you think there's any chance I'll be giving my talk and Jeff Lacasse would come and maybe just attend the talk? Or Fran said, she was actually irritated with her. She said, why would he do that? I actually left town while she was here because I didn't, small town, I didn't want to run into her. I actually fear her. So that's my list of things, and when I go through all that in my head, I come to the conclusion, as you said a minute ago, that she was at least aware this was going to happen, and I think probably involved in it.
Okay.
And I got a list of men here. I don't know if you want to see that or not.
I'll take your list if I can read it.
Yeah.
Or else I'll write it over again.
Can I just tell you? I mean, that might be easiest. It's not that long. There's 7 entries.
These are
men that she spoke about a lot. And I don't believe she would be honest with you guys about this sort of thing.
she spoke to you about.
Yeah. And or I knew she was at conferences with, and or I suspected she had sex with. I still suspect her and Charlie did this, but I know you guys have to look at everything.
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, there's Daniel Sack, there's Mehul Patel.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Sack?
Yeah.
S-A-C-K, right?
Yeah, just like it sounds.
Mehul?
Mehul Patel. P-A-T-E-L. There's Miguel Edmondson.
Edmondson?
Yeah, it's like E-D-M-O-N-D-S-O-N. There's 2 guys named Trey. They're different guys. One's in Destin as a real estate lawyer. One's in Orlando as another kind of lawyer.
T-R-E-Y?
There's T-R-E.
Trey?
There's 2 Treys.
Okay, Trey, that's all you got, just first name?
First name. They're both Facebook friends with her.
Okay, one's
a real estate lawyer in Destin. And one's actually the other one I couldn't swear is a lawyer.
And another Trey, T-R-E.
Yeah.
And who's a what now?
I think he's in Orlando. I don't know his profession. I think he's probably a lawyer. Most of them are.
Okay.
There's a person I only know as a gastroenterologist, a GI doc in Miami that I believe she was seen in early July. He was at her house an awful lot right after the crime.
Here?
No, I mean in Miami.
Okay. In Miami, gastrointestinal physician in Miami?
In Miami. And I never heard of him until July. All of a sudden, it made me a little suspicious. All of a sudden, he's around in July. This happens, and he's around after the crime, too.
Okay.
So I wonder.
Okay.
Then there's these conferences she attends, and I don't want to be too graphic, but she comes back from, if you're interested in people that were obsessed or sexually involved, she comes back from conferences with slap marks on her ass. It's very obvious what happened to her at conferences. So she went to the British American Project conference in London in the fall of 2014.
After the death.
2013. Sorry, that's before the
Okay.
death. And there's a lot of rich, influential guys there. And she goes to the Coca-Cola conference in Atlanta. There's this very wealthy advertising executive and an assistant coach for the Cleveland Browns that she was hanging out with there. I know this sounds crazy. How could they be involved? But those are men that...
And she told you about the Coca-Cola guy?
Yeah.
She got a name?
Just no rich guy, advertising agency, Coca-Cola. But he's at this conference in, when was that conference? April of 2014. She attended that conference. There wasn't that many attendees. And pretty sure she had sex with him. I don't know if that means he killed anybody. And it's the strengths coach for the Browns, I think. He's Google Browns coach, Coca-Cola scholar. He's on there.
The guy that's the Coca-Cola executive is also the strength coach?
No, it's called Coca-Cola Scholars. It's a program, a conference. So there's two guys there. And Wendy had talked to me about having sex with multiple guys on multiple days, so I don't think you can say, well, she was at the conference, she was with Mahul, so she didn't have sex with this guy, So she was bragging about that.
Okay, so I got Daniel, Mahul Patel, Miguel Edmondson, 2 Trays, a GI doc in Miami, and at a Coca-Cola conference there was an executive and a strength coach for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, an advertising executive. It's actually from the biggest advertising agency in California or something like that. He's a really heavy hitter. He's a really wealthy man. The reason I mention that is you couldn't talk to Wendy for 10 minutes and not ever talk about her situation with Danny Markel. So I know one of the theories might be that someone took it upon themselves to do this and that I'm crazy and none of this is true. I don't believe that's true. I just want to give you every bit of information I can.
No, I'm with you.
I believe very strongly that she had something to do with it. There's too many coincidences here, and this is just the stuff where I felt like 100% confident I could tell you this is true. I had a lot of impressions, and there's a lot of other stuff I could babble about all day long.
Just so I'm clear, when she went to this Coca-Cola conference in Atlanta, she met not just one but 2 guys. Is that what you're saying?
She talked a lot about, Mahul was at that conference.
Okay.
Mahul used to send flowers to the house. I'm sure they had an arrangement of some sort. And she spent Christmas with him in 2013 as well.
What does he do?
He's a rich guy in New York.
Just a rich guy.
He's a banker, I think.
And this Sack, he was a professor, right?
He's a professor.
Which law?
No, he's English and humanities. I mean, I know none of these people pop out like, well, they're a killer, but I'd be shocked if Daniel Sack was involved. Yes. Daniel Sack never wanted to meet her kids, got nothing to do with her divorce or her family stuff. I can't imagine.
What about Miguel?
Miguel hated, I told investigator how this, Miguel hated Danny. She showed me texts about how much Miguel hated Danny. Miguel and her dated right before me, his relationship preceding us. They only broke up because he moved to D.C. for his job and could not be here. And she often talked about the fact that she could be with Miguel if she lived in Miami.
What does Miguel do?
Works for ExxonMobil. He's a CPA.
CPA?
He's a heavy hitter in Exxon.
So Miguel Edmondson is a CPA for ExxonMobil.
Mm-hmm.
Relocated to D.C.
Mm-hmm.
Man, my handwriting is getting atrocious. Well, you do this all day long, and then you pick up one of these, and it doesn't work good.
Yeah, it's old school.
Okay. Went to D.C. and hated Danny.
Hated Danny.
What did the text say?
I can't remember what it said, but I remember Wendy going, look how much, because I did not know that she was still seeing Miguel. I believe that she was. She had one weekend she went away, and she only stayed at her house, which was foolish given the game she was running. Because like flowers and cards would come from other guys when I was at that house.
While you're there and she's gone?
Yeah. So a box of chocolates got them from Miguel, and I looked at the envelope, and you could sort of see something about last weekend, and you know what I mean? So I'm like, oh, jeez. So I think her relationship with Miguel was ongoing. I don't know to what degree, but she saw him in October 2013. She went to D.C. and saw him. That's after we were dating, and I believe she met up with him a few other times. But she told me both Miguel and Mihil she was interested in being in a relationship with, but they could not live in Tallahassee. So that was one of the other motivations for wanting to get out of here.
But Miguel had been in Tallahassee?
Even in New Orleans, even close enough they could kind of see each other on weekends.
How'd they meet?
They met at the 2000. If you Google his name, the first thing that comes up. If you Google their names together, they both traveled Europe together in 2009. Wendy and Miguel. Yeah, he hated Danny though.
But give me a specific, Jeff.
Yeah, Miguel went to Europe with Wendy as a group of like 10 professors. And he came to stay with Wendy. He came through Tallahassee, I guess. And he left early because he couldn't stand the way Danny talked to Wendy.
This is while they were married?
Yeah, this is 2010.
Okay.
I have always assumed the best of Wendy, that she was faithful to Danny, but Danny is described by her as very controlling and overbearing. It sounds like my experience is just trying to rein in his wife, who's not exactly the most moral person. That's my suspicion. But Miguel, per Wendy, he came to stay for a week and he left after day 2. He says, I can't handle this guy. The text, one time she said, look, Miguel just texted me, and I guess Danny did rile some stuff up, and he was trying to, that thing where Jewish women have to get it's called a get.
Yeah.
Danny asked for one like in July, and it was about that she should say, look at this, we'll go Miguel. It was something like fuck Danny or just something like that. I hate that guy, something like that.
Okay. Back to, I'm curious about this episode where she vomits.
Mm-hmm, me too.
Okay. She texted you that directly?
No, she called me.
She called you?
She called me and described it. Yeah.
When was this episode? Do you remember?
I can find out for you, but I don't remember. It was not too long after the crime. It was the celebration dinner.
And what was the celebration for?
That Danny was gone. That's how Charlie talks about Danny.
But I mean, you don't hear that firsthand.
She tells me that. She says we went out for what Charlie called a celebration dinner.
Because Danny's gone.
Mm-hmm. Hip hip hooray.
Did he say, look what, I'm assuming he didn't say, you're welcome, sis?
Nothing like that, no.
No, but they had a celebration dinner, and what caused her?
It sounds like something out of a movie, right? Someone does something they wish they hadn't, someone makes a remark, they vomit.
Okay.
That's what it sounded like. But she puked on the table at a 5-star restaurant.
Okay.
Or at least a 4-star restaurant.
And she texted that?
She called me and told me that.
She called you?
Yeah, she did. And we were still talking at that point.
Okay.
When I started dating that girl, that was it for us. We didn't talk after that. She was very hurt.
When you started dating that girl?
It was a long story, but long story very, very short. She said, she knew this woman, and she said, I should introduce you guys, because we decided, probably not going to be able to continue this, but it was in this limbo because of the crime. And I said, hey, you should introduce us sometime. And she sent her an email to introduce us, but we'd already been dating. I didn't want to bother Wendy with that when she's dealing with her murder.
Right. And
she texted me scathing texts, like, I never want to talk to you again, and that was it. So it was super,
Are you still with this woman?
No. And then Wendy calls her the next week and makes sure, I don't know if Wendy called her or what she did, but they have some mutual friends. This woman, since shortly thereafter that conversation, this woman said, I'm not interested in seeing you any longer.
Okay.
So, which I thought was pretty aggressive. When I texted Wendy, I said, hey, put me through a lot of shit. Give me a break here. Just stay out of this, please. And she didn't. Very aggressive.
Let me go check on something. You good on water?
I'm good, thank you.
Still trying to get that photograph. I don't know if it's still going to be on his Facebook page or not. I just want to see if, I just want to confirm this is the individual.
I think I'd recognize it if I saw it. At least it was the same photograph I saw.
Yeah.
Photograph I recall was 4 guys like this.
Okay. Okay. All right, I got the men that you're talking about. She made, well, first of all, does she still have the same phone number?
She switched her phone 3 or 4 days after the shooting because she thought you guys had bugged it.
Okay. All right, do you have the new number?
I don't. I think she has the same number. She has a different phone. She just wants
a different handset?
Which is silly because you don't need to put a bug on a phone physically.
Right.
I mean, it's funny.
Why would she be concerned about people bugging her phone, or the police bugging her phone, I guess is what she's specifically concerned about?
She's real concerned about that. She told me that.
Did you ask why?
No, I immediately thought she did this, and so she told me 50 times, Jeff, I had nothing to do with this. And I always just let it be silent, sorry. I just let it be silent because I didn't want to go there. I didn't want to play my hand. I've never said anything to her. I just wanted to listen. I was hoping she might give me something interesting and I would come tell you guys. Because she's erratic enough, I thought she might say something stupid. She must have said 50 times, I had nothing to do with this. And you saw her statement in the press. She's worried for the safety of her and her children. No one's suggesting a serial killer looking for Jewish lawyers, you know? I mean, this was pretty targeted, so...
Yeah, you think, she's concerned for her children's safety.
Wendy plays the victim so well. To me, it looked like classic Wendy. Everybody else felt bad for her. I thought, holy crap, she did this. She plays the victim instantly. She's great at it.
You said something a minute ago, and I didn't want to interrupt you, but I know it was about something about Charlie getting shot.
Charlie getting shot?
Yeah, I thought she said something about, I thought you were telling me that Wendy was up here or had said something about Charlie getting shot or Charlie getting killed or something like that. She referred to that.
Danny or Charlie?
I'm sorry, Danny. I'm sorry. I'm totally confusing you.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Danny getting shot. Oh, when she was up here, how's this for awkward? My best friend sat next to her at a bat mitzvah. He refers to her, just so you know what it's like in the community, he calls her the murderer in common conversation. He is convinced. I don't know how, I mean, a lot of people, and that's not from my take on it, that's his take on it.
Right.
He knows I could be crazed. He had to sit next to her at a bat mitzvah for 4 hours. She's cracking jokes about Danny getting his head blown off.
Head blown off?
Yes, cracking. And I can't remember the exact joke, but that was how he put it, at least. And he said he looked at her and said, Wendy, that's totally inappropriate.
Where was this at?
So it was the Andrew Epstein's daughter's bar mitzvah.
Okay.
Which was 3 weekends ago. She was here for 4 days. And in the morning when she was here, it was a church ceremony in the morning, then a party at night. And the morning one, she sobbed through the whole thing. And whenever anybody asked her, like, what's going on, she didn't say I'm sad. She said I'm nervous, I'm anxious. I've seen a lot of grief. I'm a social worker. This is really an atypical reaction. It's real strange. And then the evening, she was pretty much herself, but she was cracking jokes. She told some of my friends that she's changing their names to Adelson. She still hates Danny more than you would ever think. And no one has ever heard her say one sympathetic thing about Danny Markel to this day. And it's just weird. Why would you be hanging on to anger? I mean, it's so... I can only think of one reason, to make the world make sense to you. But yeah, she was cracking jokes, which sometimes people deal with pain in that way. I get that. But, I mean...
How'd she say it? How did he tell you she said it?
He might have sent me a... Oh, here's what she said. There was one just general joke, but I have the other text. He said, my favorite quote from tonight, I overheard Wendy saying, at least it didn't happen to Jeff or the kids or somebody I actually cared about.
Okay.
So that was the vibe. They split this town into 2 piles, you know. I mean, it was a nasty thing. But people that aren't me, because I'm careful, I haven't told anybody the story like I've told it to you. I've told people I'm suspicious. That's about all I've said. They find her behavior erratic, bizarre, scary, and people who are very close friends to her are coming to the point where they're like, Jeff, I'm have people stopping in my office saying, Jeff, is there any chance, I was just out the Adelsons in Miami, is there any chance they had something to do with this? That's the weirdest family, the vibe, you walk in the room and something's strange. I know it's all subjective, but it helps me to hear that, because I feel like I'm a crazy person for the last 6 months. I've been waiting for you guys to arrest some vagrant, you know? I mean, and those names I give you, I mean, that's so you have all the data I have. Wendy with Charlie. And I don't know who pulls the trigger, but there's a very strange relationship between those two. I acknowledge this might all sound real crazy to you, Mr. Gary.
I'm not, no.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested in this.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that I understand it completely and thoroughly.
Yeah.
And I can see that it's been weighing on you heavily.
Well, it has, because it sounds crazy to people, obviously. Although I told a couple people the whole story like I told it to you start to finish, and no one else has said I'm crazy. My therapist said, one thing I forgot to tell you, I had to go get a damn therapist. It was so crazy. So I to try to manage her, I tried to get some advice on relationships. And in April of 2014, he tells me, look, he's real blunt. I'm going to be honest with you. Two possibilities. One is she's just getting over a divorce and drinking too much, and she'll settle down over time, maybe live happily ever after. Second option, she sounds an awful lot like a sociopath to me. That's an objective person.
Right.
And I said, sociopath? He said, yeah, high functioning, but she doesn't seem to have a conscience. And I said, oh, Jesus, that's what I got myself into, because I was in love with her and I wasn't going to leave at that point. But that's the kind of feedback I've gotten when I tell people what she's actually like.
Okay.
I prefer that you guys catch somebody else, obviously.
Right. When's the last time you talked to her or had any conversation?
I could find it for you. It would have been in around August 20th.
Oh, that long ago.
Yeah. She cut off all contact because I didn't tell her I was dating. It was just bizarre. That was the time, it was about the time of commencement, summer semester commencement. That was another thing as far as narcissism and a crazy person. You know what Wendy was mostly upset about? And she told me this. The fact that she had to cancel her commencement speech because Danny was shot. Her attorney said it's a bad idea to get yourself in front of the media like that. Inside Edition will show up. You can't do it. She was devastated. It's bizarre.
I went back and looked. Apparently you all have somebody, McPherson?
Jay McPherson.
Yeah. What's the relationship? She has something to do with Wendy?
They claim that she was in the room with Wendy in the 9 hours you guys interviewed Wendy.
No, she came up here. She was not in the room with her.
Wendy told me she was in the room.
Well, okay, let me correct that.
That sounded weird to me.
She came in the room, I think it was over the children. The children had to be picked up.
Gotcha.
And there was two ladies that were up here, and I can't remember if that was McPherson or
No,
not.
Jane was with her that day. Coincidentally, Jane's one of my doctoral students in our program. So she's getting her PhD in social work. I teach in social work, so I know her professionally.
Right.
Jane is the one I talked to for about 3 hours, maybe 2 weeks after the crime. They told me that Wendy and her circle of friends thought I did this.
Jane told you that?
Jane told me that. She said you had to be there if you were, and she basically made it sound like if you, and she's a confidant of Wendy. See, Wendy has told many people that I stalked her, that I falsely accused her of cheating on me, that I'm this very mean person, all this kind of stuff. And she has friends that are professors in other departments. She's slandered me pretty bad. So I just haven't responded to any of that. But I go to conferences and get weird looks from people. Anyway, Jane is the one that I was so puzzled because I'm a pretty gentle guy. I was always a really good, as a father to those kids, essentially. I didn't understand how anybody could think that, and I don't believe that Wendy could have possibly believed, like, why in the world would I go shoot Danny? Did I want to choke the shit out of her? Yes, but I would never touch a woman, and I I've been in a
So
physical...
you said you just got through saying what I want to choke the shit out of her.
Yeah, her, not Danny.
Right.
There was a few times where I took a time out. I teach anger management classes. You know? I only raised my voice to her that one time because you couldn't. She would collapse.
Okay.
But Jane knows Wendy as well as anybody. Jane doesn't think any of this. But Wendy's pretty good at fooling people. Although some of this information is publicly available, I should add. Like, she's a Truman Scholar. If you go on the web and look at her statement, she says, "I hate Tallahassee, you're a bunch of country bumpkins." That's basically what she says. You know.
Although I think she told a lot of the locals
What they
that
wanted
she
to-
was satisfied, she wanted to make the best of things, and that she actually...
No, that is what she said. But not when the door closed and it was just me and her in the house. Then it was, I mean, I got tired of listening to it. I think it's a great place. I deliberately moved back here. I could have went anywhere. I mean, so...
But it wasn't for her. And she made that clear to you, is what you're saying.
On a daily basis. You couldn't pull up to the movie theater without hearing about how the movie theater in Miami is better.
Okay.
She was obsessed with it. You know, her and Danny thought they'd be here a semester. Got stuck here. So...
And then and all she'd been wanting to do is get back to South Florida. And she made that quite clear to you.
I mean, it was kind of cold, actually. She basically told me, if it's between you and South Florida, I'm going to South Florida.
Okay.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I heard that the FBI had maybe talked to her brothers. Oh, that's another thing. Their brother Rob in North New York. He's, I don't think he had anything to do with this, but something very weird about this family. There's some emails between us where when he visits the house, he doesn't even talk to the parents. There's just some sick dynamics where Wendy at one point told me that Dad was extremely violent. And I thought, well, this makes sense why you're so gun shy and, you know, hair trigger. And then later I said, well, with your history of family violence, she said, I never said that. So there was a lot of inconsistencies in line, but I don't think Charlie's been up here. If you were, with your experience and instincts, you were to talk to Charlie, I assure you, there's something off about that guy.
What about this FBI thing?
I heard through the grapevine that the FBI talked to Rob up in New York.
That's what Wendy told you?
No, I think that's what Jay McPherson told me.
Okay.
So, and I try not to believe everything I hear because misinformation's everywhere. You know?
Well, if Jane McPherson heard it, she most likely got it from Wendy.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true.
But he's like an outside, he's not really a part of the core family.
They don't have a relationship, basically.
Okay.
And the impression is he's a guy who wants nothing to do with his family. There's something that happened in that house and he wants nothing to do with it.
Okay.
And I just think there's, I mean, that's the other theory, which will sound super crazy, but the people that have visited the house in Miami, they said to me, has anyone considered maybe the whole family's in on this? I mean, this is I said, people don't do that. I said, well, you go in that house, it's real strange in there. It's real secretive. It's real weird.
Have you met her parents?
I have.
Is there anything that you can tell me about them?
You know what autism is?
Autism?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. The dad and the brother Rob have this reputation of being like that. They everyone in that family suffers from a severe lack of empathy for other people.
Okay.
She learned that somewhere. You know, pillars of the community. You get on his website. I mean, years ago I went on it. He was polite to me, but Dad's polite, Mom's kind of rude, actually. I know that Father has been speculated about. They hate Danny in a way. I have a life. I've been through a divorce. I get life. I've never seen this kind of obsession. Like their hobby is hating Danny. It was like really strange. I mean, and I fell into this because Wendy could convince you of it, and maybe she convinced the parents. But they were going to put you said you looked at some emails, but not others. At one point, Wendy was going to get a restraining order against Danny, which in retrospect is bizarre because he was a good dad. But she had Gary. You know, Gary is a lawyer that he's the one that offered Wendy the job so she could relocate in the summer of 2013. He runs a tort firm suing drug companies. He offered her $1 million job, and I wondered about him too. It's not sexual; it's more of a father-daughter thing. But they're close.
Gary.
I don't know his last name.
Where does he work?
He's a lawyer. He works in Miami.
Okay.
He owns a tort firm, and there are emails. I mean, she sent this document. She had compiled every email, like between Danny and Wendy, for like a year and a half. And the idea was to make this legal case that Danny is harassing her and stalking her. She always goes to this. She told me Danny was a stalker because he looked out the window one time and saw her walking down the street without the kids, and he goes, "Where are my kids?" I have right of first refusal. If you don't have the kids, I should have the kids. Wendy claimed that was stalking because he said, So anyway, all these emails, and the idea was we're going to persuade some judge that Danny needs to be reined in. I read this document, and at this point I'm a little skeptical because she's screwing everybody else. And I said, this is an indictment of Wendi Adelson's character. You read this thing, you get the impression this woman is a total loon. It was interesting because she thought, from her point of view, it showed what an asshole Danny was. If you were to read this, it's like, this person is crazy. So that was when I started to figure that out. But there's that different perception. At first she seems really together, and then just loses her mind. So my worry is that she had something to do with this, and has no conscience. And it's hard for me to believe she could, I know you can't give a polygraph. I can't believe she'd pass a polygraph. I can't believe she would stand up to repeated questioning if you guys had any leverage. I understand that this was done in a smarter way. I don't have any leverage. But my experience with her was over time, she just collapses.
Okay. Well, I get I understand that, that you never heard Charlie say anything derogatory about Danny.
Oh, are you kidding me? Yes.
Did you hear him say anything in a threatening manner?
No. Well, I myself said I'd like to kill Danny Markel. I told you guys that because Wendy told me he was sated. I don't want to make it up. In that hot tub, this is what this family talks about. In that hot tub, I don't remember. He definitely, in that hot tub, half the conversation was about what an asshole Danny Markel is. He was very heated up about it. He's a very intense guy. It was a little different than when I would say it, Bandito's burrito. I was like, someone should kill that guy. I was so sick of his shit. Really, it was Wendy's shit. I was manipulated. The brother, they were married 9 years. They have 10 years worth of the bullshit to be upset about. And the rant and rave about how he handled the wedding.
How he handled the wedding.
Kosher versus not. Remember when he did that at the wedding? What? Sure. It's like their hobby. It's bizarre.
And I didn't have that written down. When was the hot tub conversation? That was right after the March 12th?
Yeah, it would have been like March 17th or 18th. It would have been the Sunday at the end of spring break last year. But if the question is, did he threaten Danny? No. If the question is, was he pathologically upset with Danny in a way I found disturbing and it put me off and it was different than, say, even Wendy or her mom? Yes. Incredibly intense about it. Incredibly intense. Charlie's so difficult to get along with, he doesn't have one dental office. He works at 5 dental offices, and they can only handle him 1 day a week in each office.
Really?
Yeah. And he seems to know this and strategize it. He's figured out how to make it work for him, but he was a special ed kid, I believe. It's very difficult to get along with. And he is fiercely protective of Wendy.
Okay.
He had suggested seriously that they convert to Islam.
The whole family?
Just Wendy and the kids.
Islam
or Christianity, one or the other. Just to screw with Danny.
So they're not very devout in their
No,
Jewish
they're atheistic Jews.
Pardon?
They're atheistic Jews, Jews that don't really believe in God. They do it culturally, they eat the food. These people don't have ethics or morals. They don't.
Immediately after the homicide, you came back. I'm with that.
Yeah.
And then you reached out to Wendy, or she contacted you?
10 days later, she texted a mutual friend, acting as if I would be upset with her.
Right.
And I said, tell her to call me. She did. at 3 in the morning. She wasn't sleeping well. And we had a very awkward conversation. Mostly just, I think literally she talked for an hour and a half, and I said probably 30 words. I just listened mostly. It was real, she wasn't sleeping. It was real crazy. But that's where she told me a lot of things that weren't true. I mean, she was, and that could just be a relationship thing. Maybe she just, I couldn't contact you until Jimmy Judkins talked to you,
right.
I believe. And I don't know. I thought it was really strange not to, all my friends were texting with her. And she wasn't writing a lot back, but everyone else she acknowledged. One of my concerns, tell me if I'm paranoid, is Wendy's no dummy. She knows I know all this stuff. Now, she may not remember everything she ever said, but if there's one person, what she told me at one point was, no one knows me better than you. I said, who have you been intimate with in your life? What people have gotten to know you? Because she's a very superficial person. She said, 2 people have ever got to know the real me, you and Danny Markel. So it's been kind of anxiety-provoking again what happened to him. But in that conversation, there was a lot of lying.
Okay.
And I thought that was, it wasn't like my feelings were hurt. She just had someone get killed. If she was literally a victim, I would just say, take as much time as you need. I don't care. But there was something weird about it.
Okay. Let me see if this picture's available or not.
Okay.
It may be off. Okay. Obviously, if there's something else, you know, we can meet again.
I got one other quick thing for you, actually.
Absolutely.
Wendy was advancing her withdrawal schedule from the antidepressants much more rapidly than was safe, and she stopped. She told me this after the fact. She dropped off the med completely on July 14th.
Well, we determined that's the date that the conversation happened about Charlie and the 15,000.
That's right.
But she doesn't tell you till lader on?
I just said, hey, how are the meds? And she goes, oh, I stopped those. I think the first day I was back, which was Monday, July 14th. That was her first day off. So she was off of them completely on that day.
Okay, so...
Which, by the way, people have impulse control problems at that point, so that might be why she said that. I mean, it's...
But she's telling you this when?
In August sometime.
Okay. She just stopped cold turkey? Or
I don't know. I just know that it's supposed to go down 10% a week. She wasn't doing that.
Okay. Okay.
If I think of anything, I'll get back in. I actually had 2 quick questions for you, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
This is completely selfish, but I'm concerned about me in this situation. I'm wondering how long it is, in your opinion, before the media, before journalists are poking around looking at this case, and I'm worried about my potential exposure as a professor and as a person.
This is an open case. They can ask all they want to. They're not getting anything.
Okay, that's what we're seeing.
I mean, I may call you. I mean, at some day you may be called as some type of witness.
I would do it in a second. Yeah.
Okay, I want to make sure that we're upfront about this. I mean, let's say it goes from here to an arrest to a prosecution.
I'm there.
And for some reason, you know, your testimony is needed.
I would say anything I said today under oath. I would.
Okay.
So that's easy.
All right, but as far as anything prior to, you know, anything that you're telling me, if for some reason that was, you know, leaked to the press or anything like that, then I got an arrest to make of somebody else, no matter who it is.
I got you.
Okay?
I got you.
Does that set your mind at ease?
Well, mostly. The other question is, I was foolish enough to trade emails with Investigator Hale. Now, those, if the case ever does become closed, those are public information, are they not?
They would be considered public information, but they'd have to be, someone would have to request them, and, you know, for that, it would be something specific they would have to request.
I just saw the ones that leaked from Jameis Winston and went, oh crap, is this going to happen to me? Am I going to be, you know what I mean? Because Hollis and I talk about her allegations of stalking in his emails. I'm like, oh great. So
I would not worry about it.
Okay.
I mean, I don't see a concern there. I don't know exactly what you and Hale.
I just sent that email that you showed me, and my header to it was, does this sound like someone who's being stalked? This is, I'm trying to work this out with you, maybe, or maybe not, but there's no mention of that. You know, so.
I mean, I look at that as you were showing a defense for why you would not be
And then one other email I sent him, I pretty much accused her.
Well, okay. But I mean, obviously, it's more than that. I mean, yeah, you more than just suspect her at this point. That's what you've been telling me this afternoon, right?
No, that's true. That's
what I've basically gotten from you is this woman is directly involved.
She is.
Now, I don't think you're saying necessarily that she killed her ex-husband,
no.
But she either had something to do with orchestrating it or had knowledge that it was going to happen. That's the whole point about I have to be back on the 18th, right?
No, give you a thumbs up and then know what's going to happen. There's something weird about that date. So I don't think she doesn't have the skill to orchestrate it, but Charlie does. So that's quite, and
But you left on Thursday, and your last conversation with her was on Wednesday.
My last conversation with her was on Tuesday. Right, an hour before that email where she says, look, I need a week.
No, on the email she says she needs a week.
Yeah.
An hour before she sends the email, she says, "Are you still in town on Friday?"
That's exactly right.
And you said, "I don't know, it's still up in the air." Yeah. But you did not. She did not ask you to stay in town.
No, she did. But like the next day, I see Jay McPherson at work, and maybe there's all kinds of possibilities how she would have found out I was leaving. Do you have any suggestions if I know they're doing a Dateline on the Frosch guy that killed his wife out in Thomasville, and they already came to town. Any just advice from being an experienced investigator what I should do if I'm approached by the media, because it's not unimaginable.
Go talk to Investigator Iceland.
Okay.
How simple is that?
That's easy. Okay.
Yeah, don't have to say yes, no, nothing. You're a U.S. citizen. There's nothing that. Yes, they have First Amendment in their favor, but that doesn't mean you have to say a thing.
No, I appreciate that, but I watched Dateline enough that I can just imagine that me being presented with these pseudo suspects. That's how they do it. They show.
Nah. That would be. I don't think they're going to do that. There's a lot of that could be libel. A lot. I mean, I don't have you listed as anything. Yeah. At this point.
Good.
Okay, so no, you don't. You shouldn't have to worry about that. But if anybody approaches you, I've been in contact with the Tallahassee Police Department. If you feel like it's necessary to put a specific name, throw my name out.
Okay. It's a pretty juicy story. You can imagine that.
Oh, no, I realize that.
It's a great story.
Oh, believe me, there is a lot of extra crap around this whole thing that is really not making my job any easier.
I'm imagining, yeah.
So, but as I've had to express to other people, my only concern is finding out who and why this happened. That's it.
Yeah.
They can talk about that in Hollywood for the next century, as far as I'm concerned. But that's my only concern: who and why this happened.
Okay.
The two things I wanted to get before you left was the girl you mentioned her name, the one that you all are friends with. I tried to write it down.
Fran Gamori?
Yes.
Yeah.
Franna?
It's Fran, F-R-A-N. It's actually Francine Gamori. C-I-N-E.
Gamori?
G-O-M-O-R-Y. She's G-O-M-O-R-Y.
Okay.
And she's actually my mentor's wife. She works with me. She's known Wendy since they got here in the Jewish community. She's been down to visit the house a few times since the crime, and when she hung out with Wendy when Wendy visited Tallahassee. And I remember the Grossmans. That's something where Wendy stayed when she was here, was with Al and Lynn.
Okay, so you have a number for Francine?
Sure I do.
Who's your mentor?
Tomi Gamori.
Tomi?
Yeah, T-O-M-I. It's Hungarian for Tom. She's 212-6974.
That's an 850?
Uh-huh.
212-6974?
That's her cell phone, yeah.
Okay. Now, she's the one that you said went to South Florida, but you also said basically gave you some information about what she talked to.
Wendy was talking through her for a long time after the crime. Okay. So she's exchanged many texts with Fran, guided her through the whole divorce. Fran knew Danny. Fran was very skeptical of me when I first started telling her these sorts of things. At this point, because we're very close, they're like family. At this point, she's really worried that I'm onto something here. We all are, you know.
So Francine.
It's Fran.
Okay, Fran.
Good morning.
Would be someone, is basically someone that is close to Wendy, also close to you.
Yes.
That you and Francine or Fran have confided in each other about the concern over what involvement Wendy.
It's not a public conversation you want
Right.
to have. So we've talked very in an unguarded way about this stuff. Very frankly, I haven't told her some things. I've never told her that she said Charlie looked into having her killed. I mean, there's some things I've just kept off the table.
Right.
But she knows my concerns, and she came back from those trips very disturbed by what she
In the household.
Yeah, just intuition, but yeah.
She's not reached out to us.
I don't know why not.
It's the first time. I think you've referred to Tommy before.
Yeah.
I remember that, but this Fran or Francine has done.
You could call her. I don't know.
Well, I got to be careful because.
Do you want me to get her again? Well, she just talked to me yesterday because she was on Facebook and she got a message from Donna Adelson. She had a picture on her Facebook page of Danny and Wendy and a bunch of people at the table for some Jewish holiday 7 years ago. And Donna said, "Could you please take this picture down? It makes me sad." And Fran was like, "That's the most bizarre thing."
It's on Fran's Facebook page.
Yeah. So she's like, "Should I contact the police?" And I told her that seemed too casual. It didn't seem worth contacting you. But she's willing to talk to you. Should I talk to her and have her call you?
Well,
if she's
but
willing.
then you have to divulge, that obviously, you've had a conversation with me.
No, she knows that. I told her this.
Okay. I'm looking out for your interest in that part.
Yeah.
Yes, I would like.
The way I put it to other people is you just picked my brain because I knew a lot of people Wendy was involved.
Sure, but I would say that if you could put a bug in her ear and basically say, why don't you call Investigator Isom and give him some of this information that we've been talking about, so it's coming firsthand.
Sure.
And because it's not right for it to come secondhand from me.
Yeah, gotcha. I'll do that.
Second person was you're at a bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah, and the guy that's sitting next to Wendy.
Stephen Tripodi, Tripodi.
P-O-D-I?
Yeah, Tripodi.
Stephen with a V?
Phen. His number I have too. And if you want, he's my best friend. I can just have him contact you. He knows all
That'd
of
be
this.
Fine. Give me his number anyway, so
Yeah.
I know. I try to keep these people straight.
Sure.
This list is getting quite long.
I know.
This is your best friend?
Here, at least, yeah. We known each other by 8 years. He has an Austin number. It's 512-736-8792.
512-736-8792.
He's the one that introduced us.
Okay. To you and
Wendy. And he knew Danny.
And you're still friends?
We are. Actually, it's funny. He teared up the other day. He said, "I wish I never introduced you to that one." It's not your fault, Stephen.
And that's, okay, he's a local guy now?
He's at FSU. He's a tenured professor at FSU.
Professor of?
Social work.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's either that or law.
Yeah, that's about all of it.
Okay. Yeah, if you could, next week, if those, since it's spring break.
Yeah.
Does she work in that realm too, Fran?
She's a social work professor as well.
If you could get those two folks to call me, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
And just give them my phone number, and they can leave a message. I'll get back to them.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you being so responsive. I know you got to be busy, and this is going to be a hell of a case.
Well, this is my case. This is my case, and this is I want to see this. I want to see this to the end. And
I appreciate that. The amount of healing it would do in this community and in my small community if we could find out who did this.
Oh yeah. And I know there's a lot of people frustrated, and everybody wants to know more of the story, and they want to know how come there's not more details coming out, and so on and so forth. Read into it any way you want. I'm not saying anything. That's
good for you.
So
you also haven't asked. I mean, I know.
Right.
That,
no, I'm fine with that. And
Investigator Hale did tell me at one point, and I think one of the reasons, I don't know if this is helpful or not, but I was pitching him this, and I just couldn't hear me. I felt like, but he said we have evidence. We're analyzing it.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing that.
Well, you don't have to be a detective, let alone or a rocket scientist or anything else to figure out that there hasn't been an arrest, so everything's still on the table.
Sure.
Sure. And that's as simple as you can get. Now Stephen's the one that she was saying, and texted you. That
he was running with that bat mitzvah. I mean, I don't know how useful it'll be. He's going to say, Wendy's still crazy Wendy, is what he's probably going to say, but he can tell you the joke she was making.
Well, the first thing was it sounded like that she was joking about Danny getting his head blown off.
So, yeah.
But then when I specifically asked you what was said, it more sounded, it was a little bit less innocuous, but saying that she was glad it wasn't Jeff or her kids.
The head blown off thing, maybe that's wrong. I'll tell you. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. I just want to clarify.
Yeah, that might have stuck in my head and be wrong. It might be simply like Danny getting killed or something like that. So.
Gotcha. Okay, buddy. I think we're done for now.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
I'll walk you downstairs.